um, as a history enthusiast who has spent countless hours delving into the annals of World War II and its key figures, I must say that M. Son of the Century is a captivating masterpiece that brings the enigmatic figure of Benito Mussolini to life in a way I've never seen before. Luca Marinelli's portrayal of Il Duce is nothing short of remarkable, and it's fascinating to witness his transformation from a passionate idealist to a ruthless dictator. Um, Fascism seems like one of those much debated concepts that have been around since the first empires, older than a potluck. Uh, Yet, while the Spartans and Napoleon III may have been practicing without preaching it much earlier, it wasn't until the period around World War I when the notion became a name, fascismo, rooted in the Latin, or a bundle of sticks. It's fitting that the word arose after the global violence of the Great War and after all the intellectual forces which thoroughly deconstructed human perception and paved the 20th century as a confusing, harrowing landscape. Darwin and Freud, Nietzsche and Kierkegaard, Eisenstein and Picasso, Debussy, Bartok, and Webering. Another name should be added to those despite its dumb cruelty. Mussolini, the protagonist of director Joe Wright's new historical epic series. If you find yourself thinking, I'm not interested, given that he's the fellow behind those classic British romantic period dramas like Pride and Prejudice, Atonement, 2007, Anna Karenina, it seems to be a Boyard for 60% of the places, and Cyrano, and Cyrano is generally 2021. I've made up my mind. Thanks. You might be missing out on something. In contrast to those productions, this upcoming miniseries won't feature any Keira Knightley-like characters blushing secretly. Instead, Wright himself revealed this truth to the Italian newspaper Avvenire. I aim to depict life during that era in a modern style, blending elements from Ziga Vertov's Man with a camera, Scarface, and 90s rave culture. The result was a vibrant juxtaposition of black and white and neon hues. This captivating series, my dear friend, boasts a pulsating rhythm composed by one of the Chemical Brothers, believe it or not, a collaboration they shared during their collaborative work on the underestimated gem, Hannah. And this show will leave you reeling a twisted, humorous, sinister piece that skillfully exploits the disconcerting power of artistic vision to mess with your head. And, you know, you'll find yourself sympathizing with totalitarianism and being drawn to Benito, which, just as we did with Alex in A Clockwork Orange, and that's the aim, to demonstrate how simple it is to be engrossed by all this violence and grandeur. M. Son of the Century is an electrifying, thought-provoking tour de force contained. The issue lies in the fact that there simply isn't enough of it. In Portrait of the Fascist as a young man, beyond the gentleman mentioned earlier, and their unintended contributions to laying the groundwork for fascism by fundamentally altering humanity's self-perception, it was post-war political and economic factors that significantly propelled Mussolini, thereby accelerating the rise of fascism. The title Man of the Century captures this theme quite aptly. The film Son of the Century delves into a particular phase in Mussolini's life, primarily the transformative era when Benito Mussolini metamorphosed into the notorious figure known as Mussolini. During this period, he experienced public humiliation, maneuvered his way into the political sphere, capitalized on the economic unease and discontent of the working class, betrayed and harmed those close to him, and positioned himself as a violent heir to the socialists. This dramatic transformation unfolded between 1919 and 1925. So to provide further context, it's also important to note that Mussolini established his totalitarian fascist regime during this time, which led to significant political and social changes in Italy. As a passionate film enthusiast, I thoroughly enjoyed Stefano Bissis and Davide Serino's adaptation of Antonio Scarlatti's book, which forms part of his End tetralogy. The first installment, in my opinion, is a masterpiece that encapsulates the emotional and aesthetic essence of fascism during that particular period. And again, I eagerly await Joe Wright and his team or any other bold filmmakers to produce a second chapter. Although the story concludes well before Mussolini's most notorious actions, it provides a profound insight into the transformation of Benito to Il Duce. This transition serves to explore age-old questions about fascism. How does it originate and endure? Why does hatred prevail? By gaining this understanding, the series implies we can recognize the rise of fascism in our own era, symbolized by the Orange Tide. Luca Marinelli worms Mussolini into your heart. In the very first scene of this captivating series, I found myself gazing at a man bathed in a mesmerizing blue glow polo. With his eyes closed, he seemed to be lost in thought. But as the hue transitioned, it was as if a theatrical curtain was being drawn back, and there I was, face to face with Mussolini, who began engaging me directly, delivering impassioned and amusing monologues that would become a recurring feature throughout the show. And given that this technique was gaining traction during Brecht's time, it felt quite fitting indeed, because in this portrayal, the viewers find themselves drawn into Mussolini's inner circle, playing a pivotal role in shaping our admiration and allegiance for him. We join him on his journey as he eloquently discusses Italy, war, his ideas, his newspaper, and fascism. We witness him climb the stage amidst an assembly of only about 200 men, a rough-edged, nascent movement. He delivers passionate speeches, much like George C. Scott and you can't help but feel a strong mix of respect and apprehension towards the man. In this film, it's Luca Marinelli who deserves recognition for his exceptional portrayal of Il Duce, thanks to the skilled artisans in the film crew and makeup departments who transformed him beyond recognition, spending approximately 2 hours every day with a new look that included baldness and an additional 20, 30 pounds. Marinelli invites us into Mussolini's embrace, making us both laugh and contemplate. Despite his despicable and detestable actions, we find ourselves continuing to support him. This is quite unsettling, yet effective for the show. It keeps us engaged, both then and now. But in this way, the show subtly imparts its message about fascism. A perfect blast of political cinema will have you asking questions. son of the century is not just a show to watch, but rather an experience to absorb the extravagant style, top-notch production values, off-kilter camera work, captivating music, outstanding acting, and frenzied editing are evident in almost every frame. Whether you label it excessive, maximalist, or even futuristic, it never becomes tiresome, perhaps because it so accurately captures the turbulent, dynamic times it portrays. It mirrors the past and resonates with the present. Indeed, the program tends to lean politically from a center-left perspective, which might lead some conservative viewers to find its occasionally blatant references to a global rise of far-right and self-extremism uncomfortable. And after all, many works with socio-political themes can evoke such reactions. And it's even possible that you found yourself sympathizing with a fascist character in M. Son of the Century, which might have left you feeling uneasy, if this is causing distress for you instead of lashing out at the show or turning it off, perhaps consider why it upset you. Are you defending someone who was hurt by its message, who holds influence over you? Have they closed you off to other perspectives and ideas? Has their allure waned? And what makes them so powerful, with their hearts filled with such scorn? Titled, this remarkable production has been jointly created by Sky Studios, Pathé, Small Forward Productions, Fremantle, Cinecittà SPA, and The Apartment Pictures. It graced the screens at both the Venice Film Festival and Toronto Film Festival, discrete, starting in 2025. This captivating film will be available for viewing exclusively on Sky, with streaming options available on Now. Stay tuned for more information about when and where you can catch it.